Going on, dudes and dudettes? So Lakers had a big time victory the other day against the Denver Nuggets on the road, 123-100. Luka finally stepped up with 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists, so near a triple-double there. And now the Lakers are number one in scoring and number one in defense in their last 17 games, which is a pretty good couple of stats to be at least top 5, top 10 in, because I think if you go back to the past number of championships, teams that were in that area, top 10, top 5 of both offense and defense efficiency, they're pretty much are the ones that are winning the titles. So hopefully this is some good mojo heading towards the rest of the season and then into the playoffs too. But got to make sure you do your job and win a lot more games too in the West, because you have a couple of bad losing streaks here and there, then you could end up pretty much in the play-in, 3 or 4 spots down from where you were prior. So hopefully they can keep it going as of right now. And then the Duke men's basketball team were playing in New York. I think I said it was Brooklyn, but it's actually Madison Square Garden, so it's even better when they got this big-time 110-67 victory over Illinois. They just definitely destroyed them throughout. Cooper Flagg this week was named the Co-Player of the Week and the ACC Rookie of the Week, and I believe the Blue Devils are the first team to secure their spot in the quarterfinals already in the 2025 ACC tournament, already earning that double bye, which is pretty crazy, but they're pretty much heading into there being the number one seed. It didn't say they were the number one seed, but I'm pretty sure as long as they win their next one, which might be against Florida State, and then eventually against North Carolina, then they should be fine. But Clemson and Louisville are pretty close behind them, but I don't think they get to play them to be able to secure that spot before the tournament. But either way, they've at least earned that double bye, which is always nice. And I believe, yes, I don't really talk about the AP poll as much, but apparently there's some big win streak that ended up going out. I think Kansas of being put onto that AP poll was recently lost after this week, but Duke is surprisingly still on there at 40 straight weeks of being in that AP poll, which is really cool. Pretty much there were some down years there right after Coach K and all that stuff, so, or even probably in between there too, you never know. But I think they'll be just fine with John Shire and hopefully continuing this streak inside the AP poll. And then when it comes to Zion Williamson, yes, apparently he comes the third fastest active player to reach 5,000 career points, just right behind Luka and LeBron James. And that was pretty interesting just because he probably should have already beat this by now, but because he's missed so much time, and it's just crazy how he was still able to beat a stat when it comes to speed, even though he's been in the league for so long, but he also hasn't played in that many games because of his injuries. But when he has played, and especially this year when he's a bit more healthy, he's been able to do a lot of good stuff. So hopefully that's the case, and I believe he's already even down to his weight when he got into the league before he started getting a lot more of those injuries while playing in the NBA. So just look out for him. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll be a beast. And then the softball team had a couple of great wins this last weekend. I believe they're still in California. Beat BYU 1-0 in a close one. Then they beat Minnesota 2-0. And then they got the upset victory against the number 4 team in the nation, UCLA, my other team's rival, 1-0. So yeah, that felt even a little bit better, because in softball or baseball, if you're able to beat a team by only scoring once, then you kind of were pretty dominant when it comes to pitching too throughout, and defensively too, which they were, because I think they even had one of their defensive plays on the Sports Center top 10, pretty high, or maybe even number 1 on that list, because it helped them get the upset. But yes, congrats to those ladies. Hopefully this kind of propels them back into the top 10, because this was a big time victory. So yeah, they definitely did well, and hopefully they can continue going on the rest of the season. And then when it came to, yes, the women basketball team, they were able to beat Syracuse really good at home, 80-49. So that was awesome. And then the Duke baseball team beat Cornell, if I'm not mistaken, 16-2. And then after that game, their coach Chris Pollard is now the all-time wins list at Duke at 382, which is cool. And then they also got another victory against Cornell, 19-1. I think even right before that, I think they had lost in the first game of the series to Cornell, but luckily they got 2 more victories. I think they are still the number 17th ranked team of the nation, so they did not move at all or very far. So hopefully they'll be just fine. And then the men's lacrosse team did get a victory against St. Joseph, I believe that was 11-9. Then had a big time victory against a top ranked team in Michigan, 8-7. So yeah, that one came down to the wire. Obviously, Duke lacrosse, like about a couple of decades ago, were in the news for a lot of the whole bad, wrong things. You can look it up if you want to, but yes, luckily they've been building past that and still having some pretty solid players and winning seasons. So hopefully they can continue that as of late. And then when it comes to like the swimming and diving, they did have an ACC champion in Kaylin Gridley, who had the 100-yard breaststroke at like 58.23, and then Allie Paff, P-F-A-F-F, I do not know how you say that. She had a 100-yard backstroke at 51.11, which I believe is her own school record that she beat. It's like the fourth time she has done it, so yeah, it looks like she's just going to continue to do that, get better and better. As long as she keeps doing that, then she could probably end up seeing herself in the Olympics, or at least in the trial run too. So congrats to her. And then some NFL person put out this list of like $5 to $1 players, and you have to build your team. You only get $15, so I pretty much go by. You get to pick one player in each area, so one $5, one $4, 3, 2, 1, and then that still equals up to $15, and you try to build up your basically main starters and football team in the NFL, and they did pretty good in my opinion. So when it came to the $5, I ended up, $5. I went with Justin Jefferson, which is what your top wide receiver. And at the $4, I went with Lamar Jackson, who's always a perennial MVP at quarterback, so not mad at that. And when it came to the $3, I ended up going with the tight end and George Kittle on the 49ers. Got to have a good blocker and receiving tight end. At $2, I ended up going with CeeDee Lamb, which obviously he's the number 1 receiver in Dallas, but a great number 2 in this situation. And then, of course, at the $1, you get the great up-and-coming running back from the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson. So if this was like Madden or fantasy football, there's no way, obviously, you could get those guys in fantasy football because they would be picked too high and too close to each other. But when it comes to like Madden, it is kind of possible if you kind of cheat the rules a bit here and there, or wait a couple years still. They're either not as good or don't cost as much in that game. But yeah, I think I won a couple Super Bowls. I'm not worried about saying that at all, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So you guys try it out and see what type of lineup you can get and see if yours ends up beating mine in this fantasy type of deal. But yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. Let's go, dude.